guys, I have kind of an interesting video for you. I hadn't planned on doing another one, except I have a Halloween tutorial I want to do later on. And I want to let you guys know we haven't abandoned reviewing beauty products and stuff like that. It's too far away from payday to get anything. I'm sure you guys are like, girl, I feel you. And also, nothing really has come out that's excited me too much except for like the Bath & Body Works Christmas stuff, but I think I'm going to hold off on that for just a little bit because I bought way too much fall and Halloween items. I got to use those up first. Got to be smart. But today I want to do actually my very first book review for you. And so I'm just going to say ahead of time, I really have no idea what I'm doing. But Rochelle texted me this morning and was like, dude, you've got to do that book review so we can get on and start reading our next book. So I was like, fine. I'll just take care of it. And so over the summer, Rochelle and I decided that we really want to get back into, Rochelle reads for fun all the time. But I decided I really wanted to get back into reading for fun. And I was just so turned off from reading for a long time because of college. And I have an education degree, and for those of you that have them or have any experience with them, you have to read a ton. And I love, I could sit down and read kids' books all day, but I very seldom pick up an adult book and read it. And so I decided this summer that I was going to try to make that happen, and I picked, I was born in Virginia, but I lived in Texas for a long time and have lived all over the southern East Coast, and so I definitely identify with that. Like Southern culture, one of my favorite places in the whole wide world is Charleston, South Carolina. It just, for some reason, feels very me. And so I wanted to pick a book that kind of reflected that because I felt like maybe it was something I was more interested in. I would be more likely to actually commit to reading it. And so I decided that I was going to read with Rochelle Hissyfit by Mary Kate Andrews. And for those of you who don't know a lot about Mary Kate Andrews, she's famous for writing kind of Southern, I wouldn't even necessarily call them like mystery novels, but most of them have a mystery element to them. And they're usually, the characters are Southerners and they take place in the South. And so there's a lot of that like history and culture behind it. And I really like, if you're interested in like interior design or any kind of house decorating or anything like that, her books almost always have some element of that. And she uses a lot of really good descriptive words for describing environments and furniture and stuff like that. So if you're interested in anything, even in that category, I would suggest checking her books out because you'll probably enjoy them. And she also is just really funny. Like, I found myself laughing out loud at several parts in the book, and I wasn't expecting to. I went in with very low expectations. Rochelle brought me the book, and I saw how thick it was, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. But of course, for Rochelle, I decided I'd give it a shot, and I ended up really enjoying it. But the book is actually about a woman in her early 30s named Keely Ray Murdoch, and she's from Georgia. And it's the story of, she is actually engaged, and it takes place on the night before her wedding during her rehearsal dinner. And they're at this like huge fancy country club, and she is walking down the hallway and hears her fiance having sexy time with her best friend. Woo! Scandalous! And yeah, so the book starts out like that, and you're like, what? And so, of course, she throws a fit and, throws glasses at people and just makes, this huge spectacle of herself and calls him out for being, a manho and says rude things to his family and just basically tells the town that she lives in and all of the people involved in the wedding, they can, for lack of a better explanation, that they can, suck it, I guess. I'll have to put a warning on this that some of the content in this book review is at least PG-13. But anyway, and so it starts out like that, and of course she leaves him because she is starting to suspect that perhaps it's not the first time that has happened with the two of them. And obviously, the friend's out and he's out. And a lot of the book is a story about her kind of trying to start over and just sort of figure out who she is, apart from that relationship. And her best friend, Austin, tells her that before she really gets into another relationship, she needs to deal with some of her issues that are causing her to, pick these kinds of men and not take the care of herself that she really needs to do. And so through that discussion, you find out in the book that her mother disappeared when she was just like in second or third grade. And the rumor in the town is that she ran off with another man. But it's been so long, you know, Keely's in her 30s now, that nobody really knows exactly where her mother is or if she's even alive. You know, they have no idea what's happened to her. And so Keely and Austin do a lot of investigating and go on all these trips to talk to different relatives and try to find out the whereabouts of Keely's mother. And her father's still alive. He lives in the town with her and runs like a used car place. And even he himself has no idea because she just, you know, up and left him. He has no idea where she is or what's happened to her either. And so that's one plot line in the story. And another main one is this really hot redhead guy moves to town named Will Mahoney. Yeah, I always say his name wrong. I think it's Mahoney. But anyway, he is just like super fine. And it's funny because the way his character is described in the book, he sounds to me like the redneck version maybe of like Christian Grey, only without all the like kind of stuff, you know, if you know what I'm saying. And I'm trying to keep this like as delicate as I can because I don't know what age level to watch these videos. And so he comes to town and hires her. She works with her aunt, her dad's sister, in a decorating firm in the town, and they're actually pretty prestigious. They've been featured in a lot of really prominent decorating magazines like Southern Living and stuff. And so he's heard about them and comes to this town specifically to hire her and her aunt to decorate a house for a woman actually that he saw on TV and fell in love with. And so that's a whole other plot line in this story, is Keely meeting that girl and how all of that unfolds. But I don't want to tell you too much because I really want to urge you to read it. And if you're into that kind of stuff, I definitely think you'll enjoy it. And she has a lot of other novels too. There's Savannah Blues. That's another one that I want to read. I've noticed with her books is they seem to have more of like a, at least for me personally, kind of like a summary feel to them. They're very, although the books are thick, they're light reading. And they just seem to me like a really good like beach read or lounge read, and that's one reason that we picked this. And then not necessarily like that they're even summer themed, just something about them and the way they describe the environments makes me think of like summer, sitting out in a lawn chair and reading it. So it might be more suited for that time of year, but I think you could read it, you know, whenever. But my review of it was I was pleasantly surprised by it. I went in with low expectations and didn't really know. I'm really bad to get like a couple chapters in the book and just not be into it and not commit to actually finishing the book. Not even that things are necessarily boring that I'm reading, but I have a hard time really getting like attached to characters and wanting to finish reading books. And so this book for me did that. It's very like cliffhangery, and it's hard to put down because you want to know, you get to a point in a chapter and you're like, oh man, and you want to know what's going to happen next. So it's very hard to like stop yourself from reading forward when you like need to go to bed or go to the bathroom or go to work. So that part of it, I guess, maybe is a negative and a positive. It's hard to put it down. But I really enjoyed it, and I definitely think that I will probably pick up some of hers again. It's very funny. It's laugh out loud funny for sure, and it is very well described. You get a very solid mental picture in your head of what these characters look like, what the environment looks like, and that part I really like. I guess the only thing I didn't like about it was towards the end, I felt like there were a couple of chapters where you wanted so badly for things to get resolved. And there were just a few chapters in it where they kind of seemed unnecessary, like talking about the decorating stuff. And not that they were bad, but I think by that point I wanted to know so badly how things were going to be resolved that I was kind of like, what, where are you going with this? But the end, not going to tell you about it, but huge surprise. I actually ended up being like, when I finished reading it, so it's good. It's so good. And it's got mystery, and it's got suspense, and it has romance, and it has humor, and it's just the mystery element especially. I was not expecting a lot of the twists and turns the book took. It almost to me, like, some of that stuff was a lot darker and a lot more surprising than I expected. And so that was kind of fun to have that mystery element in it. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. The name of the book, again, is Hissyfit by Mary Kay Andrews. And you can get it anywhere, at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, just about any bookstore in the whole wide world. And I would definitely check her out. And if you guys have any suggestions for books you think I might enjoy, leave those in the comments below. And actually, our next book club selection is kind of embarrassing because we knew, like, once we started working again, we'd be really busy. And Rochelle's job especially requires a lot of paperwork. And me, you know, teachers know, sometimes you just come home and you're like, the last thing you want to do is read. But we are trying to read through all the American Girls series. I know, right? We're almost 30 and we're like, American Girl, yes. We're trying to read through all of them in the right order of when they happen in history. So right now we're reading the Kaya, and I'm so torn because I wanted so badly to start reading some Babysitter's Club, and we picked the Kaya, and so I'm really hoping like I can make myself read them because they're really good books, especially for like middle school age. Anyways, just thought I'd tell you about that, and hopefully you enjoyed my first book review. And don't unsubscribe because you're afraid we don't do videos anymore or for beauty, because we definitely will. We just haven't had a lot of stuff going on with that lately to show you. So hopefully we will soon. So talk to you later. Bye.